A quadratic equation of love. It started like every perfect love story should: simple, symmetrical, beautiful. Arya met Elias at a university math symposium. He was a guest lecturer, magnetic in the way only people who understood chaos could be. She was a final year student, a rising star, obsessed with the beauty of equations. He spoke of love as a function, rising, peaking, declining. She laughed softly, sincerely, and said love, like a quadratic equation, could be solved with the right formula. That night, they found themselves tangled in arguments about constants and variables, chalk dust dancing on the blackboard like whispers of fate. Elias, 10 years older and weathered by heartbreak, found Arya's mind to be a fierce blaze he couldn't look away from. She, young and unbroken, saw in him the kind of complexity that demanded solving. They became a function in motion. Their love graph rose quickly. In late-night cafes, they debated if love had a maximum point or a minimum. He said love peaked. She insisted it dipped before it soared. For her, love was a smile-shaped parabola. The hardest parts came first, and then joy. For him, it was an upside-down frown, blissful beginning, tragic end. Elias gave her an emerald ring on a rainy Tuesday. She wore it like a second skin. But constants change, and sometimes variables lie. 3 months before their wedding, Arya discovered Elias had been mentoring another student. Lena, younger, beautiful, fragile in ways that made men feel powerful. The betrayal wasn't in the mentorship but in the whispers, the late-night texts, the patterns that mirrored what he once shared with Arya. Love, after all, left trails. She knew how to follow functions to their roots. She confronted him in the classroom where they first met. The blackboard behind them was still etched with faded equations. "Was I just a theorem to you?" she whispered. Her voice cracked like old paint. Elias didn't deny it. He just looked down, like a failed equation. "I didn't expect you to solve me so easily." Her heart collapsed inward. A negative discriminant, no real solution. Just pain. Arya left the university, the ring, the past. She began teaching high school mathematics in a quiet town by the coast. Her lectures carried the warmth of someone who had learned that love, like math, isn't always about answers, but understanding the process. Years later, she taught her students the quadratic formula. X समान फ्रैक्सा BPMS QR TB caret, 2 4 AC, 2 A. This, she would say, is more than a way to solve equations. It's a metaphor for life, the part under the square root, that tells you what kind of love you have. If it's negative, walk away. There's no real solution. She never married, but sometimes, late at night, she'd solve imaginary equations on paper, drawing parabolas that opened upward, because she still believed in love that soared after the storm, even if hers had become the hardest tie, the most terrible betrayal. In the end, love was just math, and she was still solving.